You may also notice that these slides are in a particular format, and these slides are presented in a standard format. If we were to go to the Design tab, we'll notice that we have the option for slide size of standard or widescreen. And so you can select the slide format that works best for you depending on your presentation and projector. When we viewed the presentation, we also noticed that there was a transition between each slide. And if we go to the transitions, we'll see that for this slide, it's airplane. For the previous slide, it was prestige. For the following slide, it will be wind. And these are the transitions that go from one slide to the other. They're slightly different than an animation, and they may be used to signal to your audience that you're going from one slide to the next. With respect to our animation, you can see on our animation pane that there are different types of animations. So if I were to go to the Animations tab and select a particular object, that will activate that object, and it will allow us to provide some animation to it. Those in green are entry animations. Those in yellow or this orange color will be emphasis animations, and depending on what you've highlighted, some of these will appear and won't appear. And those in red are exit animations. In this case, you also see that we have three different types here. The first one, the title, is going to have a brush color associated with it, which is why we saw the text go from red to orange. This animation is an exit animation. It's going to disappear, and it's a box that's based on the color using the eyedropper. And in order to get that, if we wanted to maybe insert a block arrow, and we wanted that arrow to be the same color as the color in the FinTech logo here, we could go to Shape Fill. We could always use our more fill colors with custom colors, but in this case I'm simply going to use the eyedropper. Go to this color and it offers a preview in that box, and you'll notice that our block arrow was filled with that color. And it's a little bit difficult to see here, but you can notice that there's a blue outline on that arrow as well. If I make that outline a little bit stronger, it becomes more obvious. I'm going to change that outline to the same color that we had before that's used in the rest of the block arrow as fill. So now that we have that arrow formatted, we could go to animations, and maybe we want to have some movement to this arrow. And I could use different things. So for example, I can include a shape, where it happens to be the shape of a circle. And if I wanted to, I could select the options for that particular animation. I can go to Effect Options by clicking on the arrow to the right. And you'll see here, there are some different functions that allow me to change how quickly it starts and ends with the animation. If I wanted to slow this animation down, I could go change the timing there. Or I could affect the timing here as well. And so there we see movement for that animation. The next thing you may notice is that the titles for these two particular slides show up as this red font. So for this slide number 4 and this slide number 2, we see red font. And one thing PowerPoint allows us to do is to change the format of the entire presentation by using what's called a slide master. So if we go to View and then Slide Master, we will see a template for this particular presentation. And what you'll notice is that on this presentation, I have it set up to where the Slide Master, for a slide with this particular layout, will come up with a red title. So if we close this view, we notice that these two slides have a layout of title and content. The slide that shows comparison does not come up in that format. And the reason, if we go back to Slide Master, under View, Slide Master, we notice that this particular slide is the only one that shows up when we have content for this particular title. So in other words, the red font on the title is only going to appear on this type of slide. If we wanted to affect the different font, we could go to a different type of slide, select all of it, and then change the font as well. So there are different advantages to using this slide master. Rather than having to go in and select each individual slide, we can change the format on the entire presentation by going to Slide Master. There's a type of emphasis animation on that particular text. We'll notice that it's emphasis based on the color here. And if we wanted to play that or get a preview of that animation, we can hit play from, and we'll see all the animation on this slide. In this case, it goes from red to orange. And we see the additional animation after that. If I wanted to change this particular animation, I could. I could go to animations, and you'll notice that this is a brush color because we've selected this type of text and it's going to paint it with a different brush color. We could change it to a different color if we wanted to. We could go to green where it will paint it to a different color. And so that's one of the things we could use in PowerPoint to emphasize some information in the presentation. The last thing that we may notice in this case, there are notes down at the bottom. And while you may use these notes to take notes during a presentation in a class, for example, in this case, we've used it to describe what's going on in this slide. So for example, this layout is title and content. We know that by going to the Home tab and Layout. We have an object inserted, which includes a table and a picture. The transition is wind. There's an entrance, emphasis, and exit animation. And then the animation line we could add in that we've added a shape. And additional features, the animation with the same color as the table using an eyedropper. That would be this box here. Additional formatting, we have this named Ventec logo, and we see that on our selection pane. And we have a named table, which is our company information table. And so these notes can be used to summarize what's on these individual slides. The last thing that we'll notice is that we have this video inserted. Maybe we would go to Insert, and then use this video as an option and an online video.